After the destruction of the House Atreides by House Harkonnen, Paul Atreides and his pregnant mother Jessica join the Fremen led by Stilgar, while the rest of the world believes that no member of the House Atreides survived. In hindsight, Emperor Shaddam IV is the one who conspired with the Baron of House Harkonnen to take down Duke Leto Atreides and his men, who were sent to Arrakis to look over the production and handling of spice, a rare psychotropic substance native to Arrakis. At the beginning of the movie, Vladimir Harkonnen makes his nephew Rabban the new ruler of Arrakis, as the Harkonnens regain control over the planet. On the other hand, Princess Irulan Corrino, the daughter of Emperor Shaddam IV, writes in her journal how her father set up Leto Atreides to fail in Arrakis and then betrayed him by plotting his death. Paul and Jessica are en route to Sietch Tabr with Stilgar and his Fremen troops. Paul has a vision where he interacts with his unborn sister inside Jessica's belly, telling her about their father's death and how he fears he won't be able to make things right when she's born. Just then, a patrolling spaceship drops Rabban's soldiers nearby. Everyone rushes to hide since the Harkonnen are known for their barbaric practices. However, unbeknownst to them, the Fremen have left a body as bait in the sand. When the Harkonnen men approach the body, Stilgar's men use a device called Thumper to summon giant sandworms. Hearing the noise from the Thumper, the Harkonnens soon realize what they are up against, and they use their advanced suits to fly to the nearest rock formation. As luck would have it, an eclipse turns the sky dark. Seizing the opportunity, the Fremen shoot at the Harkonnen men with their guns. When one of the soldiers tries to check on his fallen comrades, Paul grabs a blade and duels the soldier bravely, eventually killing him. Another soldier has Paul in his range, but before he can hurt him, Jessica beats the soldier to his death. Once they have subdued all of Rabban's men, the Fremen's troops come out of their hiding spots and extract the water from the Harkonnen men. Next, all the bodies are piled up, and then the giant sandworms are summoned to devour them. On the other hand, Rabban's advisor asks him to move his men away from Fremen territory, since they have been losing a lot of men recently. This angers Rabban and he beats him mercilessly. Eventually, the Fremen reach Sietch Tabr. Paul notices how many people are not too thrilled to have Paul and Jessica there since they think of them as spies. On the other hand, Stilgar and many others believe that they are the prophesied mother and son duo from the outer world who will change the fate of Arrakis. Stilgar tries to convince the council that Paul is the chosen one they have all been waiting for, but the council is not having it. Paul and Jessica are given food, and due to the spice in it, Paul has a vision he doesn't understand. Next, Stilgar shows Jessica how the Fremen conserve water. They extract water from the Harkonnen soldier killed by Paul and add it to a lake inside the cave. This water cache is one of many thousands created by the Fremen to terraform the planet. Then, Stilgar tells Jessica that Sietch Tabr's Reverend Mother is dying, and they want Jessica to succeed her since she belongs to the Bene Gesserit sisterhood. These sisters are known for training their minds and bodies to attain strong psychic abilities, strong observation, and an inner voice to control minds. Jessica agrees to take on this role as this would help Paul. She tells him that by doing so, she will inherit the memories of all past Reverend Mothers. Shortly after, she is taken to a cave where she meets the Reverend Mother, while the Fremen pray outside. Jessica is then given the blue water of life, a fatal poison that can kill men and untrained women. She uses her powers to transmute the poison, but as she takes a sip, her body starts convulsing in pain. As her eyes turn blue, the dying Reverend Mother learns that Jessica is pregnant and calls the ritual a mistake. With that, she takes her last breath, while the fetus inside Jessica's body has its premature brain awakened by the liquid. Outside the cave, Paul learns that Chani and her friend Shishakli don't believe the prophecy that Paul is the chosen one, as it is just another fabrication to manipulate the Fremen. Hearing the news that Jessica survived after downing the poison while pregnant, Stilgar and his fellows rejoice that the prophecy was indeed true. However, the skeptical group argues that the big families fabricated these prophecies to secure their future, and they don't need an outsider to save them. Paul interrupts them, telling them that Jessica is a Bene Gesserit, and she has been trained to render the poison ineffective. He announces that he is no messiah and has no plan to rule the Fremen, but only wishes to fight alongside them. Seeing his humility, Stilgar is further convinced that Paul is the chosen one. Chani, on the other hand, develops respect for Paul when she learns what his intentions are. In the next scene, Jessica wakes up and tells Paul that her unborn daughter, Aaliyah, can communicate with her. Aaliyah trusts Paul to save the world, and Jessica believes that Paul will see things more clearly if he too drinks the water of life. Moving on, Paul attempts to learn the Fremen culture. He is given some water and food to stay in the desert for a few days to prove his mettle. Despite Paul's determination, he is not too great at making his way through the sand. Chani notices it and teaches him how to do it properly. As they spend more time together, the two develop feelings for each other. Paul learns the Fremen language and norms and becomes a Fedakan fighter. On the other hand, Jessica keeps talking to her baby and discusses how to make the non-believing North Fremen change their mind. After a few days, a smuggler spice harvester appears in the Fremen territory. As per usual, the Fremens come out of their hiding spots and open fire on the unsuspecting soldiers. When they retaliate by shooting from a nearby aircraft, the Fremen hide under the harvester. Seeing this, Paul and Chani take out more soldiers, and then Paul runs out to distract the aircraft. That gives Chani the perfect chance to eliminate the aircraft with her laser gun. This allows more Fremen to leave their cover and shoot the harvester, finally destroying it. Later that night, when the Fremen celebrate their victory, they accept Paul as one of their own. Stilgar gives him the warrior names of Usul and Muad'Dib. The next day, Stilgar rides away on a sandworm as Paul watches. Paul takes his house ring off, finally accepting that he is not an Atreides anymore. Soon after, Chani joins him and they kiss. As time goes by, Paul participates in multiple Fremen raids on the Harkonnen harvesters, which results in great losses to the House Harkonnen. This angers the Baron, who ruthlessly kills two of his assistants in cold blood. He summons Rabban and warns him that he needs to set things right, or the Emperor might take Arrakis away from them. So he replaces Rabban with his cunning and cruel younger nephew, Feyd Rautha, as the new governor of Arrakis. Feyd is known for his twisted psychopathic nature, and the Baron wishes for him to overthrow the Emperor eventually. In the next scene, a distraught Paul awakens from a nightmare that he doesn't remember much, except following a woman in an apocalypse, while hundreds of men die around them. Chani claims that the exposure to spice must be causing Paul's nightmares. Later that day, Paul prepares to undergo the Fremen's rite of passage, which is summoning and riding a sandworm. After testing a few spots, Paul places a thumper in the perfect spot to summon a sandworm and uses hooks to hoist himself on it without falling. When he emerges out of the sand riding the sandworm, everyone cheers, while some bow down to him. The news reaches Jessica, and she decides to travel to the south to gather more followers who are staunch believers of the prophecy. Paul doesn't accompany her, since he believes that his visions of the Holy War will become true if he goes to the south as a messiah. On one of the raids on the smuggler harvesters, Paul is surprised to run into Gurney Halleck, the war master who worked for his family. He shows Paul a hidden nuclear warhead stash of House Atreides that is only unlocked by Paul's DNA. In the next scene, the Emperor worries as the Fremen gain more power. Reverend Mother Helen warns Irulan to keep the news of Paul being the Fremen's prophet hidden, because this could expose the Emperor's role in the House Atreides massacre. After a few days, Feyd launches a brutal attack on the north, which destroys the Sietch Tabr, killing Shishakli and many more. Chani convinces Paul to journey south, despite his fears of the apocalyptic holy war. There, on Jessica's insistence, he drinks the water of life and falls into a coma. Chani gets furious, but Jessica forces her to mix her tears with the liquid, which wakes Paul. While Chani storms away, Paul realizes he has a clearer sense of the past and the future. He has a vision of adult Aaliyah on a water-filled Arrakis, and also learns that the Baron is Jessica's father. The South Fremen Council wants Paul to contest Stilgar for leadership, but Paul refuses. When he impresses everyone by reading the private thoughts of the Fremen leaders, he establishes himself as the Lisan al-Gaib and assumes full power over the Fremen, which upsets Chani. Paul calls himself the Duke of Atreides and challenges Shaddam, who arrives on Arrakis with Irulan and the Sardaukar. As Shaddam berates the Harkonnens over their disastrous rule over Arrakis, the Fremen launch an offensive strike with sandworms and atomics. Paul enters the throne room, kills the Baron, and takes Shaddam captive. On the other hand, Gurney leads an assault on Arrakeen and kills a fleeing Rabban. Next, Paul challenges Shaddam for the throne and demands to marry Irulan, which disappoints Chani. Shaddam reluctantly confesses his involvement in the House Atreides massacre. Since the Baron previously summoned all the great houses, they arrive to invade the planet, but Paul threatens to blow up the spice fields with atomic weapons if they intervene. Feyd volunteers to be Shaddam's champion and engages in a fight with Paul, but Paul kills him with a knife. Next, Irulan agrees to marry Paul if he spares her father. Shaddam kneels, but the great houses reject Paul's ascendancy. so Paul orders the Fremen to attack them in orbit. Stilgar leads the Fremen onto the captured Sardaukar ships. In the end, Jessica and Aaliyah reflect on the beginning of Paul's holy war, whereas Chani heartbrokenly refuses to bow down to Paul and departs on a sandworm. With that, the movie ends. Thanks for watching Dune 2 Recap. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. See you next time. Welcome, sci-fi fans. Futurist Flicks is thrilled to launch our exclusive membership program designed for loyal fans like you. By joining, you'll unlock early access to recap videos, unseen recap videos, raffle prizes, free merch giveaways, exclusive content and behind-the-scenes insights, access to community events, live streams, and Q&A sessions. Join the Cosmic Crew today and get instant access to exclusive perks. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more intergalactic adventures.